Hello, today is Friday, December 23rd, and this is Friday 5 at 5 with the Denver Public Library. My name is Erin. I'm a librarian at DPL's Central Library, and in 15 minutes or less, we'll have you up to speed on 5 new titles out this month that we can't wait for you to read or listen to. It's time to get ready for Winter of Reading. This is DPL's annual program for adults that brings fun and adventure to your reading and listening life. Starting January 2nd, 2023, anyone 17 and older can get a Winter of Reading brochure at any of our open locations or download one from our website. Once you've done 5 activities, you'll be eligible to get one of our fabulous Winter of Reading prizes: a very cool tote bag or a very Colorado aluminum mug with a carabiner handle. And there are lots of great events planned in conjunction with Winter of Reading. Everything from book buzzes to an interactive mystery to our annual and virtual Battle of the Books on January 27th. Now on to the books. In our first book, Screaming on the Inside, The Unsustainability of American Motherhood, New York Times opinion writer Jessica Grose dismantles 200 years of unrealistic parenting expectations and empowers today's mothers to make choices that actually serve themselves, their children, and their community. After Grose failed to meet every one of her own expectations for her first pregnancy, she devoted her career to revealing how morally bankrupt so many of these ideas and pressures are. Grose weaves together her personal journey with scientific, historical, and contemporary reporting to be the voice for American parents she wishes she'd had a decade ago. The truth is that parenting cannot follow a recipe. Every parent has different values and will have different ideas about how to pass those values along to their children. What successful parenting has in common, regardless of culture or community, is close observation of the kind of unique humans our children can be. In thoughtful and revelatory chapters about pregnancy, identity, work, social media, and the crisis of the COVID-19 pandemic, Grose explains how we got to this moment, why the current state of expectations on mothers is wholly unsustainable, and how we can move forwards towards something better. From publisher Mariner Books and available at DPL and print and as an ebook or e-audiobook. For an investigation into the current state of caregiving in America and an exploration of motherhood as a means of social change, pick up Essential Labor: Mother as Social Change by Angela Garbs. While in Work Matters: How Parents' Jobs Shape Children's Well-Being, author Maureen Perry Jenkins examines the workplaces of low-income workers as a critical but often overlooked social setting that shapes family life and child development. Our next book comes from author Jane Smiley, who is the author of 9 novels, including Moo, The Age of Grief, and 1,000 Acres, which won the Pulitzer Prize. Her latest title, A Dangerous Business, goes off in a totally different direction than any of her previous titles. Applying methods gleaned from a Poe story, a pair of 19th century working girls put their heads together to fight a crime spree. The 1850s Monterey, California tale features Eliza Ripple, who's been working as a prostitute since her husband's death in a bar fight. When young women are found murdered in and around town, Eliza decides to emulate Edgar Allan Poe's detective Dupin and pulls her friend Jean, a cross-dressing woman who serves reticent women, into a hunt for the killer. As their madam says, being a woman is a dangerous business. These 2 women suss out the most likely culprit and hatch a cleverly devised trap. The vivid historical details and vibrant characters bring Smiley's setting to glorious life. The book also presents women who, through necessity, push past the labels and traditions of the time to become heroes. Overcoming a strict upbringing, becoming financially independent, and working together to save the lives of the women in their town from a serial killer illustrates the power of these women who were told and believed that they were less than, only to shake off the stereotypes and build themselves anew. From publisher Knopf, and available at DPL in print and as an ebook or e-audiobook. For another look at girl power on the frontier, check out Annie and the Wolves, where Annie Oakley's Wild West Americana and time travel come together in a genre defying novel that explores trauma and the cost of female revenge. Want more? Check out Outlawed by Anna North. The crucible meets true grit in this riveting adventure story of a fugitive girl, a mysterious gang of robbers, and their dangerous mission to transform the Wild West. Benjamin Jealous is the president and CEO of People for the American Way, as well as the former national head of the NAACP, a New York Times bestselling author, an investigative journalist, and Ivy League professor. But before he took on any of those roles, he was the son of parents who had to leave Maryland because their cross-racial marriage was illegal. Living on America's racial fault line has been traumatic, but now he is ready to make peace with his family's past in Never Forget Our People Were Always Free, which illustrates the complications and contraindications of race. Highlights include a trip to visit his godbrother, comedian Dave Chappelle, in Yellow Springs, Ohio at the turn of the millennium, working with California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger to tackle mass incarceration as part of a Republican-Democrat coalition, forging an unlikely friendship in rural Mississippi with an elderly white man who helped stop the state from turning a historically black college into a prison, and listening with Georgia politician Stacey Abrams to heart-wrenching testimony from the son of a former Klansman. Ultimately, Jealous seeks a nation where the very American tradition of denying the humanity of people of a darker hue does not exist. This is a thoughtful, informed set of reflections on America's past and future struggles for social equity. From publisher Amistad Press and available at DPL in print. For more history, pick up Black Ghost of Empire, The Long Death of Slavery and the Failure of Emancipation by Chris Manjapra. For a completely different presentation on race relations, the graphic novel Philadelphia is worth a look. Volume 1 is Sins of the Father by Rodney Barnes. When Putin, a largely unknown former intelligence officer, became president of Russia in 2000, he tried to reform the army with a series of new appointments. To a degree it worked. Structures were changed, with new technology such as drones introduced and kit improved. The annexation of Crimea in 2014 occurred with such ease that it fooled Putin into thinking it would be easy to replicate this in Kyiv. In Putin's wars, from Chechnya to Ukraine, author Mark Galeotti provides a detailed look at these changes in organizations in Russia's military in great detail, from the changes in strategic military districts to the significant changes in RV maneuver units, going from the Soviet-era division to an intermediate brigade structure to the current battalion tactical group. Other chapters provide additional details on the Russian Navy, Air Force, and the continuing modernization of their strategic missile forces. The author provides a great deal of background and context to help the reader understand how Putin's Russia came to believe it could impose its will on Ukraine in a lightning campaign, a mistaken notion that now threatens European security and the NATO alliance. It is a complete one-volume briefing on the modern Russian military and its master. From Osprey Publishing and available at DPL in print and as an e-audiobook. For something a bit more lighthearted, try out Muppets in Moscow, the unexpected, crazy true story of making Sesame Street in Russia by Natasha Lance-Rogoff. To dig deeper, consider the movie Putin's Witness, directed by Vitaly Mansky, available in DVD and on Canopy Streaming. Here's our next book. Deftly shifting through time and perspective in contemporary India, Age of Vice by Deepti Kapoor is an epic, action-packed story propelled by the seductive wealth, startling corruption, and bloodthirsty violence of the Wadia family. Loved by some, loathed by others, feared by all. In the shadow of lavish estates, extravagant parties, predatory business deals, and calculated political influence, three lives become dangerously intertwined. Ajay is the watchful servant, born into poverty, who rises through the family's ranks. Sonny is the playboy heir who dreams of outshining his father, whatever the cost. And Nada is the curious journalist caught between morality and desire. Against a sweeping plot fueled by loss, pleasure, greed, yearning, violence, and revenge, will these characters' connections become a path to escape or a trigger of future destruction? Equal parts crime thriller and family saga, transporting readers from the dusty villages of Uttar Pradesh to the urban energy of New Delhi, Age of Vice is an intoxicating novel of gangsters and lovers, false friendships, forbidden romance, and the consequences of corruption. It is binge-worthy entertainment at its literary best. From publisher Riverhead Books and available at DPL in print. For more epic family stories, pick up Clark in Division by Naomi Hirahara, which opens in 1940s Chicago. Or try Afterlives by Abdulzarek Gurnah, in which a young man returns home to Africa years after being kidnapped to find his parents gone and his sister enslaved. And, in case you missed it, Garrett Hongo has written over 30 works in over 70 publications, was a finalist for the Pulitzer Prize in Poetry in 1988 for The River of Heaven, and was awarded the 1996 Oregon Book Award in the literary nonfiction category for Volcano. Hongo's most recent literary work is The Perfect Sound, a memoir in stereo, which is the story of the poet's journey through life, a life infused with music and audio. This is the autobiography of a man who searches for his own voice and who chases after fidelity. To find that authentic voice and to own it, Hongo mimics the voices he hears in books and on records, CDs, and in the movies. Hongo writes with compassion and understanding and with an appreciation for all the major and many of the minor musical traditions that have enlivened the U.S. and that have come from immigrants, enslaved people, working men and women, and from musical geniuses like Bessie Smith, John Coltrane, and Jerry Garcia of the Grateful Dead. Throughout this narrative, readers will find fond snippets of his father, whose long avocation was to optimize a home-built stereo system to listen to Hawaiian music. As we observe Hongo's life as he moves from boyhood through adulthood, there is a contrapuntal sense of grief that pulses throughout the work, an identifiable and relatable longing to do with unrootedness and loss. From publisher Pantheon Books and available at DPL in print, ebook, and e-audiobook. For a musician's journey to success, give the book Every Good Boy Does Fine, a love story in music lessons by Jeremy Dank a look. And to understand the psychological aspects of music, check out The New Analog, Listening and Reconnecting in a Digital World by Damon Krukowski. That's it for this month. Thank you for tuning in to Denver Public Library's Friday 5 at 5, and we hope you enjoy these great reads and listens. Check out or place a hold on these titles and a whole lot more right now at denverlibrary.org, link below. Tune in next month for new recommended reads. Happy New Year! Bye.